Frida, can you tell us sort of what was the catalyst for you deciding you wanted to put AI to an unusual use?
Sure, absolutely. So my background is I spent 10 years as an academic scientist at Harvard and MIT. And I studied people. That's what I did. And then I loved the research that I was doing, but I wanted to find a more applied use case for a lot of the really cool technology we had been developing. So I went to business school to kind of figure out my next path in life. And it was at the business school at Harvard that I saw recruiting firsthand for 2 years because that's what MBA students do. They try to figure out their next gig. And I was just really that's where the proverbial light bulb went off. I was just really struck by the fact that recruiting hadn't changed in the 10 plus years that I had tried recruiting out of college. And I just thought that was a real loss. And so what we do with pymetrics, we don't just apply artificial intelligence to the world of talent. We also apply an entirely new form of behavioral science. So I think that's actually probably the more critical component of what pymetrics does, is that we measure people differently, and then we also apply AI to the problem. But fundamentally what we are is a soft skill platform. So instead of saying, hey, Kevin, give me your resume and I'll give you a read on what your hard skills are, what your experience is, we look at what your potential for future roles might be, including roles you may have never even considered, right? So the beauty of soft skills is that they're future facing, forward facing, as opposed to being backward facing. And they speak far more to your potential than your past or your pedigree, which I think is so critical now. So we capture all of these all the soft skill data using behavioral exercises. That was my background, my scientific background. And then we take that and we combine it with machine learning or AI to really not only take someone's soft skills, but then optimize the fit between an individual and a role. And the reason I chose to do that, like I said, is because I think I saw how antiquated the process still was, and also how many times it failed. I mean, I think that Harvard students are some of the most overserved people in the world, which they have. That's just a thing. And even there, the failure rate was so high, right? People would decide, oh, I want to be I want to get this type of internship, and then all their friends would be like, well, I'm not sure you're a great fit, but they would be gunning for it. They're smart, they sort of get their way through the interview, and then 2 days into their internship they'd be like, I hate my job. And I just saw that over and over, and I was like, there's got to be a better way. It's just back to like what Netflix did for movies, right? Like I think we're old enough to remember the experience with Blockbuster, where you would go in, you'd spend an hour picking 2 movies based on, their resume, right? The blurb. Then you'd go home and you'd be like, I hate this movie, right? And we're still doing that in the analog world of recruiting. And I just think that, pymetrics is the Netflix that will show us a better way.